Good morning everybody, my name is Crystal. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Sunday morning. It's frosty outside, like it's misty. It's all misty outside. It's cold, but then it warms up warms up during the afternoon. So you've got a mist. I look out my window and I see a mist. Misty, cold morning. So I felt better yesterday, I really did. I felt better. I think it's a cat allergy, to be fair. Harry has a habit of, when he goes in the cat litter, he kicks it all over the floor. And it could be just an allergy to cat fur, something like that. Because my eye is stinging this morning. Stinging here. I'm going to go to the doctors to get it checked out because it could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it's having the cat back. So I've got up this morning. It's not been too bad. I've nothing to complain about. Last night I went out for a walk and I enjoyed myself on my own. I did. I don't want other people to rule my life. I want to do what I want to do, go where I want to go, not what other people want. And this is something that they have got to get used to, right? Because the old me is gone. I don't want to lose my temper. I don't want to shout. That was my dad. That was my father's behaviour. That was my father's behaviour to me, to other people at his workplace. I mean, if you met people that my dad worked for, they knew I was his daughter. These people knew that I was his daughter. So when my dad took me for a tour around Brompton Barracks, they knew I wasn't his wife. They knew I was his daughter because he told them. He even had one of his work colleagues sat next to him in the car when I was in the back seat. They all knew that I was his daughter. And my dad took me for a tour of where he worked at Brompton Barracks, his little office room where he had a photograph of my mum and my sister. There was no photograph of me, he just had a photograph on his desk of my mother when she was younger with hair like mine. Seriously, he had a photograph of his wife, my mum Jennifer, on the work desk, that Derek did, and her hair was like mine when she was younger, and he had a picture of my sister stood next to my mum. There was no sign of any picture of me, and he actually said, "Sorry Ness, I didn't have a photograph of you, so there's not one on my desk." But all this was all worked out before I even came down from Gloucestershire to Kent. The swapping of me with my mother. It was. So Dad showed me around his workplace. There was a blacksmith's, and he took me into the blacksmith's, and I remember the smell of the blacksmith's, the burning. He took me a tour all around Brompton Barracks. He told me the Queen had visited Brompton Barracks and that she'd requested a gold-plated toilet seat. He told me about the royals visiting Brompton Barracks, he told me. I believe it was a set-up. Me and my mother were swapped places. And I think everybody involved knew, including Tesco's, that is no longer in Chatham. That disappeared not long after I started complaining to the police. They shut Tesco's down. because Tesco's used to say, hasn't your partner got lovely hair, hasn't he, you know, and I said, that's not my partner, that's my dad. And Tesco's staff knew it was my father because they knew what my mother looked like, but she stopped coming out with my dad and I. She stopped coming out with us. So I find it suspicious, I just do. And now that my father is dead, I don't know why they're continuing the charade that taking the piss out of my mum. I'm not my mum. I'm my own person in my own rights. And this is going to stop. Absolutely. My mum doesn't go out. She doesn't go out anywhere. She just stays indoors. And I'm getting all this bullshit. I've done nothing wrong. Half the things that they, oh, you're this, you're that. I don't know what my mum and dad's life was like from 1987 to 2008 because I was up in Gloucestershire with my husband. So I don't know what their life was like. I didn't know my sister Amanda was seriously ill. I didn't know she was ill. I wanted to come down to my sister's wedding, but I was being kept in the dark. No one was telling me anything. All I would hear is, oh yes, your sister's all right, she's fine. She wasn't. She wasn't. I knew nothing. When I came down 2008, I wanted to see my sister, but no one would let me. My mum said, no, you stay in there with your dad. I'm going out to see your sister. I wasn't even allowed to see my own sister before she passed on. Absolutely crazy. So, it was all a setup, swapping me with my mum. And I was abused. And no one would give me any answers, no apologies, and just brush it under the carpet and ignore me. Well, that's not going to work, is it? Now I'm going to start the day, as I usually do, and I'm not going to stop until I get answers. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning, and happy birthday to Daniel Craig. I hope he treats himself to a birthday drink. Shaken, not stirred, of course.
Alexa, what's the time, please?
Good morning, Crystal. It's 8:27 a.m.
Alexa, what's the date today? Alexa, the date. Alexa, what is the date today?
Today is Sunday, the 2nd of March.
Alexa, what is the weather outlook?
Right now in Rochester, it's 0 degrees Celsius with fog. Today's forecast has intermittent clouds, with a high of 9 degrees and a low of -1 degrees.
Yes, fog outside, right outside my window. Alexa, can you tell me a joke?
What kind of music do wind turbines listen to? They're big metal fans.
And Alexa, who was born on this day?
Celebrities born on the 2nd of March include Lorraine Newman, Mikhail Gorbachev, Daniel Craig, Chris Martin, and Karen Carpenter.
Alexa, who is Daniel Craig?
Daniel Rawton Craig is an English actor. He gained international fame by playing the fictional secret agent James Bond for 5 installments in the film series Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die.
Yeah, I grew up with James Bond. Sean Connery was one of the best James Bonds. Sean Connery. Alexa, what actors played James Bond?
James Bond is played by Daniel Craig.
Alexa, can you name previous actors who played James Bond?
From Answers.com. James Bond has been played by 6 different actors so far. These actors include Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and the current James Bond, Daniel Craig.
I was trying to remember Roger Moore. I remember him as well. Look, we're all getting older, all of us. Aging actors and actresses, aren't they? So yes. I spend my life being hidden away and shoved under the carpet because of their dirty secrets. Because my mother rings me 3 times a day to make sure I've not, I think that I've not exposed it anywhere. And I feel like I'm locked up in a prison. It is like a prison. You have to get into three or 4 separate doors to get into my prison cell. No one could find you. No one would know if you were gone. They wouldn't. I don't get post. I don't get personal post, you see. It goes into a metal box. You know, a metal box. It doesn't go through a letterbox. So there you are. And as you know, certain circumstances, I don't really get on with the neighbours. Believe you me, I did try. You try to be nice. They don't, you know, people just, that's their you know, what can I do? If I'm nice, I'm soft and I don't speak loud enough. And if I stand up for myself, I'm aggressive. I can't win. I did try, and people just don't want to know. They don't want to know. They've got their own lives, and I understand that. But no. In my old block of flats, it was more personal. The postman used to bang on the door and he used to make sure I was okay. The neighbour was always talking to me and was very friendly, and we was getting to know each other, and then I got offered this place, and then everything went to pot. The neighbour at the old block of flats helped me find my cat when Nikki fell off the balcony, and this place is so impersonal, right? It's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like the last place I'd ever, you know, take on, and that it, you know, it was a place that, you know, new build, new people, new start, but it didn't turn out like that at all. And the only person I'd given my full address to was my mother. A week after giving my address to my own mother, I started being, suffered this harassment. And I just saw my dad's car, what looked like my dad's car, going up and down the road. My dad passed, I just don't like it here. My dad passed away while I was living here. I heard all the builders' noise, the construction site, the vehicles, people eating in front of me, being cruel to me, like I was taking some sort of punishment for what? As I was the victim. And my mum kept saying everything was being done to her. She had this done to them. We was all going to pay for what had been done to my mother. I felt like I was being... I didn't do anything to my mother. It was done to me. just being honest. It's all right, my mum saying Dad did this and Dad did that, but she took part in it. My father sexually abused me and she didn't run to the police and report it, did she? She didn't go running to the police and telling them what my dad did she? I was repeatedly sexually abused at the house I was living in with my parents, repeatedly sexually abused at the previous block of flats, and the only reason that they even set up this flat so that my dad could come and visit me in it, but he passed away before he could. And they're just chickens. They just don't, now Dad's dead and there's no one to abuse me. It's dead, isn't it? It's dead water. There's nothing going on because he can't abuse me in this flat because he dropped dead in 2021. So all their efforts were absolutely pointless. So I'm irrelevant, I've been abused. Dad can't do it to me anymore, so that's the end of it. Just leave her with nothing and just let her sit there and suffer with no one and nothing. And it's just not good enough, is it? It isn't good enough. And I'm sorry, that's the stark reality of it. They thought, my mum even sent my dad round to this flat, knowing that he had cataracts in his eyes. Derek, can you take Genestra home to her flat in Rochester, she used to say. And knowing my dad had cataracts in his eyes, he couldn't see properly to drive. And that's another truth for you that they all don't want to know and are hiding. Absolutely disgusting how they think they can just brush me off, sweep it under the carpet, and even in some cases pretend I'm the man that abused me. How disgusting can these people get? How low can they stoop? I've got my birth certificate. I've got my marriage certificate to my husband in Gloucestershire. They tried to get rid of that. With this, whatever I got involved in after I left my husband. So I can get hold of the marriage certificate, and I'm a woman, so I married a man. So I can get hold of the marriage certificate in 1987. I've got my birth certificate, which says my birth name, Genestra, and born a female, a girl. So I've got proof, and these idiots, right, that are just mouthing off gobshiting rubbish that isn't true, will all be proved wrong. Absolutely. And they've just got away with it, and they just, they think if they shut their mouths and don't discuss it, well, it's not any good for me, is it, when I want just justice and compensation after losing all my children and my life for the past, nearly 20 years? That's why I want my father's death certificate, Derek's death certificate, where this Patel coroner said that my father died of a heart attack and COPD, because my mum's lost all the death certificates, which is she's lost all his death certificates. After all, I'm his biological daughter. Shouldn't I be able to have access to my own father's records? And they've gone missing, have they? What else has gone missing? conveniently. I'm sorry, I'm tired of my mother's excuses. I'm just tired of it. Absolutely tired of it. She's so weak and so, you know, standing there watching and not doing anything is just as bad as the person who did it. See you later.